Hey guys, so my name is Austin. I go by ATL Hooligan on the internet, but I am most known for my forex trading videos, where I discuss the basics of trading forex, things like that. Recently, a lot of people have been asking me about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and whether or not they should invest in them or not. What absolutely amazes me about this fad, which it basically is a fad, is that people are investing their life savings into this without even knowing what it is or how it works. They just see it in the news. They hear about Bitcoin millionaires and people, making, 12-year-olds making millions of dollars in Bitcoin. They hop on the bandwagon like any other fad and think, hey, I want to be a millionaire too, so I'm going to invest not just a reasonable amount of money, but my entire life savings into something that I have no idea how it even works. And I actually know a fair bit about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and how they work. I'm not going to bore you with how exactly they work, but essentially it uses something called blockchain technology. And blockchain technology is pretty much, if you remember like Napster back in the day, peer-to-peer transactions, blockchain technology is pretty much a way of eliminating middlemen in transactions by storing data on millions of users' computers that sort of all compound together to come up with something or a verification of something in order for a transaction to occur. I know that's very broad, but sort of think of it as, instead of eBay existing, there's really no middleman between the buyer and the seller of a product, or in Bitcoin's case, it's a hash chain of cryptographic information pretty much. And so again, it's very hard to explain if you really don't know anything about it, but this website here, Investopedia, it's my go-to website. Please just read a little bit about it if you're going to even consider investing in this. Basically, it's all based on cryptography and hiding and masking things and anonymity. But you're also able to mine Bitcoin, which means you can essentially, by falsifying the blockchain, you can kind of not steal, but gain Bitcoin by, if you have a large amount of computing power. And they've put a lot of things in place nowadays where it's not easy to do this. It's basically you have to break. It's like a secret code, and you have to break the encryption. And the way, I think it's like 1 in 900 million. Your odds of winning the lottery are better than breaking this code. So that's why it takes these computers and these rigs so long and so much power to mine such a little amount of Bitcoin. But again, I'll let you look into this on your own, but it just amazes me that so many people are jumping on this bandwagon without knowing a single thing about what they're even investing into. So next thing I want to talk about is how uneducated and ignorant some people are about basic financial concepts, right? Okay, there's something called an economic asset bubble. Okay, that's something that you should learn about in basic finance. Any college level finance class will teach about an economic asset bubble, right? So it's happened many times before in the past. So we can look at the S&P 500. If this loads for me, right, there's two examples of clear bubbles that have been documented in history around the late 1920s and early 1930s. See this rise and this fall here? This is a bubble, right? An economic bubble. A lot of people, I'm sure, know about the 2008 housing crisis. That's another economic bubble that's existed. And then again, in the early 90s to late 90s, the most notorious bubble is known as the dot-com boom. Everybody knows, with the invention of the internet and all the dot-com millionaires that were made during this time in the early 90s, basically from the development of internet startup companies and things like that. It inflated the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ is similar. In the early 90s here, you look like it's around the same exact time where this giant economic bubble happened, and boom, right here when the general public, not the early adopters, but not the laggers, but the majority of people, when you adopt new technology, there's people known as early adopters. I can't remember the exact term for them, but then somewhere in here is the general majority of people, which is like 80% of people, decide at the worst possible time that that's when they want to jump on the bandwagon and start investing in what everybody else has already made millions and millions of dollars in, right? So this is an economic asset bubble. Boom, right here it pops, and then you see a significant decline in price over a very short time period, right? So that's the NASDAQ. I showed you the S&P 500 did the exact same thing around the same time. So I want you guys to just look at some of these cryptocurrencies and the charts on them. And what do you see here? You see the same exact pattern. You see a massive increase in price over a short term, and then boom, all of a sudden a significant drop in the value of the asset over another short period of time. And I will tell you this right now, Bitcoin has not fallen as far as it's going to fall. This is still a bubble. You still have a majority of people thinking this is a good investment. A lot of people now are even saying, hey, it was at 20 grand, now it's at 10 grand. That's another opportunity to invest. But no, that price is artificially inflated already. So I predict that over the next year or so, you're going to see Bitcoin fall down to more like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 where it really should be. This is natural growth here, right? If you're looking at this, this is sort of how the S&P 500 grows, how the Dow Jones grows, the NASDAQ grows. This is natural economic growth. These are normal types of returns to see in a marketplace, right? This is an artificial bubble. And so I predict, like I said, over the next year, Bitcoin is going to fall down to more of this level, the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 range, where the price of it, given market conditions, really should be. So that's Bitcoin. So a lot of people now are saying, hey, I know the Bitcoin boom is over, but what about the other cryptocurrencies, Ethereum and litecoin and things like that? But look at this chart, man. It doesn't take a genius to see these things, right? All right, this also compares Bitcoin, so ignore the orange and just look at the green. What do you see here, right? This looks like stabilization and normal growth, and growth also can include, normal trends in assets can also include declines in prices. But you can see that generally it was staying around the same price range, which is about, sorry, this is the market cap. I'm looking at something totally wrong here. All right, I apologize for that. I'm supposed to be looking at the price, but I promise you it's the same thing. This is the market cap as well. Sorry, let me see. All right, so 1,000. See, I want to look at long term. 1 year is not long enough for me. And I don't even know, maybe this hasn't been out for a year, but I want to see a long-term chart and long-term trends on this thing. All right, so while this loads, let me just talk a little bit about some of the options out there that people ask me about. So Coinbase, that's the first thing, right? Coinbase is basically like the market or the wallet where you can buy the currency or the cryptocurrency, and sort of they will hold it for you and show you what the value of it is and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then there's something called BitConnect, and I think people are finally figuring out that this website is totally screwing people over. This basically allows you to invest in Bitcoin, lend the Bitcoin to other people, and then make money off the interest from lending the money, right? So we don't have to go too far in depth in these, but BitConnect I know just came out recently. A lot of people lost a lot of money in it. To me, I don't know why you would ever invest in something like that, but it's just totally stupid. So, all right, Ethereum. Let's look at the farthest we can look at this. just loading very slow for some reason. Boom. What do you see here, right? This hasn't even had an opportunity to stabilize, right? So you don't even know what the real value of one Ethereum should even be. But to me, it looks like, it came out, it got popular, and then it was kind of having a little market correction here, and then it seems to be stable more around this level, right? 200, 275, maybe 300, maybe 400 if you're lucky. But boom, all of a sudden, during this craze, right, this is like the quickest asset bubble I've ever seen. The price shoots up to $1,400 because of all this, news and media attention that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are getting. And then people are deciding at this point, at $1,400, that's when they should invest, that they're getting in early. And I'll tell you right now, you're getting in way late, man. If you wanted to make your money and you wanted to invest and be an early adopter, you should have invested back in August 2017, right? Then you would have made some money, just like the early investors in Bitcoin made a lot of money. But if you're hearing about it on the news and people are saying this is a great investment, the opportunity is already gone, man. The opportunity is already gone. And I guarantee Litecoin, I don't want to load that chart, but I guarantee it's the exact same thing. It's an artificial asset bubble. It's a very common finance and economic concept, okay? So what really just blows my mind is that if you Google BitConnect make money, and if I would have just Googled BitConnect maybe a month or so ago, it was all videos of people explaining and preaching how easy it is to make money with BitConnect, right? And you're like, oh shit, I should get on this too because all these people are making so much money on BitConnect, blah, 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 blah. And really, people are just making money off the referrals of you signing up on that website, right? That's where all the money is. So now this actually makes me a little bit happier. But if you just research BitConnect now, you see all these negative videos about it, right? And I guarantee these are all people who fell into the scam, invested their life savings and stuff like that, and then got screwed, right? And that's why they're making these videos now, trying to, recoup their money, trying to make some YouTube income off of telling other people how much money they made lost in cryptocurrencies. But things like this is like, you lost your life savings in this? That's just, why would you ever invest your life savings in one specific thing or concept, right? Diversification is the first thing in finance, okay? But pretty much what I'm trying to say is that it's a big scam. If you don't know what you're doing or what you're getting involved in, don't invest in it. And obviously don't invest your life savings in it. So if you have any more questions, feel free to email me or ask me, but that's about all I got to say for now. Thanks, guys.